All right, folks, we have a little bit of an XRP Sunday Spike. I'm getting ready to go long XRP, and we're also going to be mentioning here no taxes, no income tax, and the focus on folks making less than $200,000 per year. Yeah, I'm excited to bring this update to you. We have a lot of action taking place, multiple ETFs set to get approved, and liquidity already starting to come into XRP with a spike up to $2.27 this morning. Nice little pop. We're also watching Zebek pop up, and I talked about ZBCN as the ticker. We did a deep dive on it yesterday. It's in my 2025 coin review playlist. So if you want to check out that one and all of the other coin reviews I've done, that's in the YouTube playlist section. And comment down below and let me know which ticker you want me to review next. I think I'm going to do Stronghold, SHX. I got a lot of folks that have been waiting for that one. I've been watching the project closely, and we're going to dive in, take a quick look. So I got that one and then a couple others ready for you guys, but let me know in the comments. President Trump tweeting it out, truth in this morning. He says, when tariffs cut in, many people's income taxes will be substantially reduced, maybe even completely eliminated. And that has to be the goal. In fact, it has to get done. Completely unconstitutional. Focus will be on people making less than $200,000 per year. We shouldn't stop there. We should not stop there. We can do better. Also, massive numbers of jobs are already being created, with new plants and factories currently being built or planned. It will be a bonanza for America. The External Revenue Service is happening. Now, we've already got a record amount of tariffs that are being collected. That's good. We're making good progress. The only criticisms I have is that we haven't gone further, right? I want to see us go further. I want to get it done faster. But we are enjoying the direction that we're heading in. Now, speaking of the direction that we're heading in, we're watching X get ready to roll out X payments. I'm very excited for this and what they're going to be integrating. What's been so fascinating with Elon, so peculiar, is the fact that he can't mention XRP, XLM, any of the X coins, many of the ones that we hold and love so dearly. He's never said a word about any of them. But he'll talk about Bitcoin. He'll put Bitcoin on the Tesla balance sheet. He'll talk about Doge. And boy, Doge is lagging, struggling hard over there with Doge. Even with all the mentions of Doge and everything, Doge is still there about 20 cents. That's a struggle. I still hold my little bag of Doge, and I can't wait to get rid of it. Okay. But the reason why I bring this up is because we got a post here a couple days ago from Elon Musk, and he's got the X shirt on. And this is from the X payments that he had started to work on with the PayPal Mafia. Before it was PayPal, they were working on X payments back in the day. And so he posted this a couple days ago, and I think he's hinting at the rollout here of X payments and the full integration that's coming here. It's going to be very exciting. And I believe that this will be blockchain agnostic, where they'll, allow us to use Bitcoin, Doge, XRP, and many other cryptocurrencies, stable coins too, on the X platform. And I've been saying too, as soon as X gets their, their payouts more dialed in, right? Some folks have already started to make a good buck on Twitter. I don't make more than $100, on Twitter per month. I don't really have enough engagement to make a considerable bag, but I make a little bit. But once they get that dialed in for content creators, it's going to be a real competitor. Obviously, I focus on YouTube, X, and TikTok the most. And so I'm very excited to see X continue to expand, and they are dominating right now in the social media game. More on that later, though. We got to talk XRP. We got to talk about this Sunday spike. We got to talk about the liquidity inflows starting to pick up. And it's because these ETFs are going live amongst all of the other bullish catalysts still waiting for XRP to pop off. Hashdex reporting the world's first XRP spot ETF going live in Brazil. And this is actually not the world's first XRP ETF, but hey, if they want to take credit for it, let them hype it up, let them pump it up. And you're going to see all the suits doing this. We've been talking about the suits are going to sell it in 589 different ways. So you have another crypto milestone on the Brazilian stock exchange with the XRP H11 XRP ETF going live, giving investors secure and regulated access to XRP, one of the leading crypto assets focused on fast, low-cost international payments. I love when the suits are selling it for us, and this is just getting started. The main reason why we see a spike here this Sunday morning is the reporting that's being done here by Cointelegraph and other mainstream crypto outlets that are late to this story, I should mention, because we've been talking about this for over a week now. We've been talking about the ProShares XRP ETFs. There's 3 of them set to go live at the end of the month. But now you finally got the masses getting the tip. The masses finally waking up to what's happening here, because Cointelegraph and others are reporting on it this morning, saying that the SEC has approved a public launch date of April 30th for ProShares Trust XRP ETF, which is actually not true. So we had to tap into our good friend Eleanor Terrett for the breakdown on this one. And she retweets Uphold, says that this is not spot. Somebody asked for clarification, and I think that she did a good job clarifying it right here. She says, sure, it's an application for futures-based and leveraged inverse products. There's an ultra short XRP ETF, there's a short XRP ETF, and then they have an ultra XRP ETF, which I think is a long XRP ETF. She says these don't get approved by the SEC like the spot products do. They just go into effect if the agency doesn't raise any objections within a certain time period after the filing. So essentially, as long as the SEC doesn't say anything, doesn't see any issues, this will go live April 30th, here in just 3 days. Now, Cointelegraph misreporting that this has already been approved. That's not necessarily the case, but do we need to, pick them apart on a technical point like that? Absolutely not. Let them hype it up. I've been saying, let them hype it up. Let the suits hype it up. Let Cointelegraph hype it up. Bring them on in, baby. Love to see it. Love to see it. As long as they're not just, because this has gone from them misreporting, disinformation, misinformation, FUD against XRP, to now they need the clicky clicks, so now they hype it up. Let them play their game. Let's let them do it. Let's let them send it. I'm here for it. So here in a few days, if the SEC doesn't have anything to say, which they won't, this is going to be good to go, and it is going to go live here in just a few days. 3 more XRP ETFs on the way. And this is before the spot ones. And I want to remind everybody, we already got the confirmation from the largest derivatives platform in the world, CME, that they are going to be going live with their XRP futures next month, May 19th. So you're starting to see those switches get flipped, and that liquidity is going to be coming in. Now the futures have to go live before the SEC likes to approve the spot XRP ETFs. And this is where we start to see the supply shock theory come in for XRP, because these ETFs that are spot actually have to back their ETF with actual XRP. I'm about to show you next how I am going long, or I placed a bet to go long, an order to go long on Coinbase. And that's a Coinbase futures product, a derivative that is not backed by actual physical XRP. So it's just a Wall Street product, essentially, where you can get exposure. One contract equates to 500 units of XRP, but it's actually not backed by XRP in these futured or leveraged ETFs. The spot ones are backed by XRP, and so this is where they'll be sucking up that XRP supply to back the spot ETFs. This is where it gets really interesting. But I'm going to play this video. I made a quick 60-second TikTok. I posted it to YouTube and X as well. I'm going to play it here again for those of you guys who might have missed it. But essentially what I did is I'm going to start to use this futures contract on Coinbase to hedge against my big bag that is ridiculously long of XRP, right? You guys know me. It's my biggest bag. I'm ridiculously long, going to hold most of my bag forever. So how can I effectively hedge that position? Well, there's a few different ways that I'm going to be doing it, and I'm going to be breaking this down in a separate video. You won't want to miss it, because I think that everybody should consider these types of strategies to hedge, because most of you are ridiculously long XRP as well too. And maybe it won't end up being so ridiculous, but you get my point. One of the ways that we could do that is by going short, of course. But what I'm going to show you here next is what I'm doing is I placed an order, a buy order to go long XRP, but I placed that limit order at $2.13. So if we do get a little bit of a pullback, which I am kind of expecting might come in for XRP here this week, if we do get a pullback down to my target of 213, my order would execute, and then I would be in a long. Now, if we don't go back down to 213, well, then my order just doesn't execute. And so I could decide to cancel it. I could decide to leave it in place. I could move it up. But essentially what I'm doing is I'm not shorting XRP. I'm just placing an order to buy, which you could do if you wanted to just do this spot. If you wanted to just acquire more XRP, right? This is how it's done. This is how we dollar cost average into these assets. You place that limit order below where we're at right now. But what's exciting about this is I'm going long. So we go down to that level, my order executes, and then when XRP starts to pop back up, we're going long with 2.55x leverage. So not a ridiculous amount of leverage, but just a little, a little nudge, little, we're juicing it just a little bit. And I'm going to play this video here where I showcase how easy it is to do this. If you're looking to go long XRP, this is how it's done. Definitely not financial advice, just showing you how it's done. We are on the Coinbase futures contract, just went live, and we're placing a limit buy order to go long at $2.13. Now, we're just buying one contract, which is backed by 500 units of XRP. So the notional value of this contract is over $1,000. But because Coinbase is allowing me to use 2.55x leverage, my margin required is only $437, little 50-cent fee. So all in, we're $438.40. My order has been placed. It is Saturday, market is closed, and the futures market will open back up Sunday evening. If we get that pullback for XRP to $2.13, my order will execute and I will be long XRP. Not financial advice. So people have been asking me what happens if we don't go down to 213, my order doesn't execute. What happens if we go down to 213, my order executes, and then we go down lower? Well, then I'd be in the red. But this is why part of my strategy is I always have extra liquidity on the sidelines so that I won't get margin called. I won't get my position cleaned up because I also set it, more cash aside so I could buy more, right? If it goes down to, say, for example, goes down to $2, I can double down on this position and place another long order at those levels. And it's going to take a lot to liquidate me because I make sure I don't bet my whole bag. We don't long the whole farm. We keep capital on the sidelines so I can effectively hedge, scoop up the dip, and then on the recovery, we're long with just a little bit of leverage behind it. So this is just one way that I'm hedging my XRP bet. And I'm going to speak more on this in a separate video. But what's interesting too, the second part about this is it's a way to hedge XRP, but there's also an arbitrage opportunity that I found that nobody else has mentioned that I've seen. Maybe somebody else has their eyes on this, but I haven't seen anybody else mention this arbitrage opportunity where the futures contract on Coinbase has had huge price discrepancies between the spot price of XRP. For example, this week when XRP popped up to 230 spot, the futures contract went to 235. So you had a premium on XRP. Then when XRP went down to 211 earlier this week, the futures contract went down to $1.95. So you could have bought that discount, a 16-cent discount, and then it is, it's not directly correlated to XRP, but it's supposed to represent XRP. So then you get that gap closes, and that arbitrage is the gap between that futures contract price and the spot price, and that gap closes, you make profit on that arbitrage. Basically, you can buy the discounts, you can sell the premiums. So this is a two-pronged approach on why I'm going to be using this XRP futures contract on Coinbase. One, to hedge my position. Two, as an arbitrage opportunity. I mean, this is an arbitrage trader's dream. And I'm a doofus moron trader. I don't got anything special, but I haven't seen anybody else talk about this one. More on this in a separate video. Here's the XRP price chart up to 227 this morning. Big pop. Love to see it. And we actually had come down into this box that I had shared with my Discord group in our weekly call yesterday. I shared this box, and this takes us up to May 6th, 7th. This vertical line right here is May 7th for the next Fed meeting and the next interest rate decision. And so I have this target box right here. We actually already did enter into it. We went all the way down to 216 through the middle of the night. But then we get this big pop up to 227. And so now let's see where we can close off this weekly chart for XRP. Like I said, the futures contract is right here. And this is where we saw the big spike up to 235. And then this big drop down to $1.95. And so you're already seeing a big price discrepancy arbitrage opportunity over here. I'm very excited about that. But if XRP can close off here above 220 for the week, that would be a very, very strong finish. And I think that we have some big catalysts coming up for XRP as the broader markets will also shift back to risk on over the next 30 to 60 days. And so I think this is fueling XRP to a new all-time high very, very soon. So please stay locked in with us. If you appreciate what we're doing, make sure you like this video. Help us out by sharing it out far and wide. Make sure you check out that Zach deep dive that I dropped yesterday, 2025 coin review playlist on YouTube. And I have some more on the way this week that you won't want to miss. So everything else is at my website, zachrector.com. Greatly appreciate your support. Have a good Sunday. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.